you want to be successful? Do you want to grow your business? Do you want to dominate the day? Then you're going to need Big Skip Energy. Welcome to the Big Skip Energy Podcast. How we doing today?
I am doing fabulous. So happy to be here.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I know this is take two because we tried this, backed up and punted. You know what? We are here and we are going to kill it today.
That's right.
Go ahead, if you would, please. For my listeners that don't know you, why don't you give everybody a little bit of a rundown?
Absolutely. Well, mortgage industry veteran, has been in the industry for the last 25 years. Out of that last 25 years, I've spent the majority of my industry time on the wholesale channel. In 2007, I started AFR Wholesale as employee number one and built AFR Wholesale for the last 15 years. I spent there as an owner and a partner and the president of the company.
Yep.
And then about 18 months ago, as the market was beginning to shift, I decided that I wanted to take on a new challenge. I wanted to move into, of course, being still part of wholesale because that is near and dear to my heart and something that I always want to be involved in, but also working with an organization that hasn't been in wholesale as long as the time that I have spent and helping to grow and to strategize and work towards becoming one of the top lenders in the industry. So definitely has been a rite of passion during this whole time of my career. I absolutely love the mortgage industry, what we do, how we serve, and the difference that we make by the families that we assist and help through the journey.
For sure. Now, you actually have something new coming up on the horizon. Is that right?
I do. So when I joined EPM, one of the things that I wanted to do is kind of break off on a side organization. And we are about to launch that at the end of October. And that will be called Lighthouse Advisors. And what Lighthouse Advisors is going to be is providing programs, products, and services across all of the mortgage industry. So it's not just segmented to just being under the EPM umbrella. So I'm kind of taking all of my knowledge and all of my things that I've learned over the last 25-year career and providing that value to the entire industry. I think the timing is right because of all of the changes that are happening within our industry.
Are there changes?
Changes. So it's exciting because I think we all agree. And I'll actually stop there with, do you know what the number one skill is for success? Do you know what it is?
Well, in our industry or just in general?
In general.
Well, opinions vary. I tend to think empathy is the biggest one.
No, it's actually adaptability.
Ooh, adaptability. I like that.
Because if you can't change and evolve and morph into where things are going, you're going to be left behind.
That is true. That is very true. And if there's, of course, in the mortgage and banking, like you said, if there's anything that is consistent about our industry, it is change. Actually, I had somebody say that the only industry that is more heavily regulated than ours, mortgage and banking, is the nuclear energy industry. So that is actually, that was really interesting to me. And so even just from a pure regulatory standpoint, it's always changing, much less other market-driven factors. Good Lord, we've got everything under the sun to deal with right now. And a lot of people are having a hard time. But you know what? It'll be all right. We'll get through it. I've been in this 20 years. You've been in it 25. We've seen some ups and downs, right?
That's correct.
So if we can, I want to segue a little bit into what are some of the biggest strategies that you have seen some success with in helping originators, wholesale AEs, basically anybody in mortgage sales, essentially not just weather the storm, but really make it through and keep that positive attitude and say, hey, you know what? This too will pass. We will get through it and get through it successfully.
I might be kind of a sick individual that I actually love the hard times more than the easy times, because when things are going smoothly and the rain is happening and you're just standing there collecting the rain, It really
Mhm.
doesn't require strategy. It really doesn't require that extra step. And it's interesting. One of my favorite podcasts that I listen to is Ed Milet, right?
Oh
And
yeah. Oh yeah.
he just wrote a book called One More,
Hmm.
with the philosophy that if you just do one more of whatever it is that you do, you will always be okay. One more call, one more thing that you're going to read, one more workout, one more visit, one more networking event,
Yeah.
one more. I think we all agree, Skip, the reason why you can last 20 years, 25 years in the industry, it's a relational industry.
Mhm.
If you think that you're going to just come out during the time when you have your bucket and you're collecting that green, you are
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yes. That's a
Because,
mistake.
because the seeds are planted long time before the
Yep.
moment that you get here.
Mm.
We all know that when you see someone that has been successful in our industry, it's not because of what they did today. It's because of the work that they did back then. Now,
Yeah.
here's the good news. Here's the good news. The good news is that day can be whatever day you start doing it.
Oh yeah.
So if you weren't great at going out and knocking on doors, going to networking events, making that one extra phone call, going on video, doing your extra homework because you became an expert in a particular program and you became the person that everyone went to say, hey, teach me about this loan program or this community, right? It's okay if you didn't do that before, but I promise you that right now in our market, if you are not doing that one more with those seeds that you're planting, you are not going to be here in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
That
Or,
is
or
something.
less.
Or less.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And so the fact that you said so, I'm gonna get a little bit of a petty victory here. So
Yeah.
my wholesale clients, as well as my training clients, have heard me say essentially what you just said, framed a little different context over and over again. So I appreciate you validating what I've been telling everybody. No, but no, seriously though, you are absolutely correct. It is not what you do today that matters. It's what you have done even 90 days ago, hell, 30
That's right.
days ago. You've got to pick a time to dig in, put your foot down in the sand, draw you, and go after it.
And then be consistent.
Consistent is key. Yeah, there's nothing else to say. What we do from the origination sales standpoint is not rocket science.
Nope.
Now, there's a lot of obviously industry knowledge. I'm not talking about that, but just from a pure activity standpoint, we've got to measure activities, right? And if you're not going through the steps necessary to do that, you are not going to last long in this market.
You are not.
The good news, like you said, though, we start doing it now, you're going to set yourself up to be even better when times get quote unquote back to normal, whatever normal means, right?
That's right. And listen, there's a quote, and I can't remember who said it, but the quote is, show me a person's habits and I'll show you what their future will look like.
Yep.
So what are the habits that you're doing? What time? I'll actually give you a perfect example. About a week ago, I had a tough day. It was just one of those days that just nothing went right. Okay.
Mhm.
And so that night when I went to bed, and I'm an early riser, I like to get up early. I like to start my day really kicking it, right? So I thought to myself, you know what? Yesterday wasn't a good day. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm getting up 90 minutes earlier than I normally get up because I have to change this trajectory. I have to make sure that I'm in control of the things that I can control in order to set this day up to be more successful than yesterday. So unless you set yourself up that way, now I had a choice. I could say yesterday was terrible. I'm going to sleep in an extra hour because I don't feel like dealing with it. No.
You've got to live intentionally. You got to go about your business intentionally. If you don't do that, okay. So I don't know if you're familiar with a sales trainer. His name's Jeb Blunt. Have you?
Prospecting, fanatical prospecting.
Yeah. So and the three things: actions, reactions, and mindset. And if you don't focus on the things that you actually can control, which to your point is getting up and grabbing the day ahead of time and let's make today a success. You're just going to be floating around, grabbing at straws, no direction. You are going to be a victim of the circumstances instead of you trying to take as much control of what you can control. So yeah, that's a big deal. It's also funny you say about the one more, because the one more call thing, I've got the bracelet and everything. And I was talking to him at a conference. I was like, dude, I know that's not a novel concept, but it is so important.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But it's everything. It's always one more anything, right? If we just live that philosophy, one more phone call to the relationship that we're trying to develop, whether it's a personal relationship or a business relationship, right? One more text message, one more email, one more phone call, one more of anything is going to multiply and compound over time. And everything in our business is compounding. That's what we have to focus on.
Yep. The concept of compound interest is applicable to a lot of different things. So before we shift topics again, let's get down into the weeds of this a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Let's say you are, and I'm just going to throw out a random scenario. Say you're a loan officer. You've been doing this since before the pandemic. So you actually know what it's like to not have things just busting down your door, but you're struggling right now. You're struggling to either get your share of the pie. You're struggling because people are getting super aggressive with their pricing or whatever the case may be. What's maybe one or two things that you could say to that loan officer to say, hey, you know what? Focus or do this, not just focus on it, do this activity, and you will start seeing some success. Because there's no magic pill. So there's no, hey, do this, it will equal it, but it's all going to be part of it.
I think you just nailed it, right? There is not a magic one thing that's going to work. It's a variety of things all happening over and over again. Okay.
Recipe.
Let's start with this right now, what we're doing. If you do not have a podcast, every originator out there that is listening to this, if you do not have a podcast, you are missing the boat. Okay. So, and let's talk about this, right? Even saying that you have to do anything having to do with mortgage. Let me just give you an example. Okay. So let's say I'm just going to pick Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona. And that is my market. My market is Arizona. I'm really in deep connection in Scottsdale and Gilbert and Chandler and those areas. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what do I want to do? I want to be known as someone of authority. I want to be known as someone of value and integrity and trust and knowledge, right? I want to be known of all those things. So what and I want to be known in my community. So what am I going to do? I am going to start the Arizona whatever podcast, right? And then I'm going to go in my community and I'm going to interview all of the local people, the attorneys, the butcher shop, the boutique of where the women go and shop and get all their outfits, right? I'm going to go to every community pet place that I can, and I'm going to offer them the ability to speak about their business. Before we go live, I'm sitting there going, so Skip, tell me, how long have you been in Scottsdale? Who's your clientele? Please tell me, because I would love to refer people over to your wonderful association that you have. Now, vice versa, they're going to also say to you, so Laura, please tell me, what do you offer? How long have you been in the mortgage business? Please tell me the different programs. And guess what? Now you're going to communicate with them when the episode goes live. You're going to email them. You're going to put them on your social media. You're going to tag them. All of their community people are going to get to know Skip and how wonderful of an originator he is. And then you're going to keep posting it over and over again.
Love it.
Where it looks like you are the authority of Scottsdale. You love your community, you value all of the merchants, you spotlight them, and you are different than every other person out there. That's just one thing. Just one. You have to take the one thing and pull it forward. Don't just do the podcast. Take them and ask, Skip, who else in the community should I get to know? And you keep it going and going. Oh, you have some realtor friends that you have worked with? Wonderful. I'd love to spotlight those realtor partners. And now meeting new realtors. Now you're getting deeper in there, not asking for business. You're building relationships to where they will work with you.
Yeah. And so there are two big concepts that you brought up right there that I think warrant a little bit further discussion, which they could each be their own episode with me and you talking about this. But one is the concept of mind share, right? You want to be known as the authority. Anytime somebody thinks of anything housing or mortgage related, you want to say, hey, Laura pops in mind first thing, no matter what. Hey, I'm not looking for a mortgage, but I know she's in this business. I have a question. Let me just reach out to her. That's what you want to do. Right. That should be every originator's goal, is to be that top of mind person for anything related to it. And then the second is building that referral network. The network is interesting because not everybody's going to be a prospect, but everybody can be your network in your market, because you never know how you can help somebody achieve what they need to do. It'll come back around to you eventually. It's actually funny. One of the things I train on is keeping a referral scoreboard, because so many loan officers, and for that matter, also any salesperson, but loan officers in particular, so they always say, hey, I've got to market to realtors. I got to get these referrals from realtors, got to go to them. Well, I asked, say, when's the last time that you referred somebody to them? Why are you always taking? Because having a referral network it's a give and take.
Yep.
It's a give and take. And I said, you should be keeping track of who you are referring and getting and also referring from each source. Now, the 6-month mark or year mark, if you look at that and it's one-sided, got a problem, either with you or with them or both. Who knows, right?
I read an interesting thing. You just reminded me of something that they always tell you when you're building out your LinkedIn profile, that one of the things you should have is your recommendations, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's very interesting. This little trick that I learned is they said that it's important that you don't want to have all recommendations to you where you weren't giving people recommendations.
Yep.
So you have to make sure you're balanced, that you're a giver and a receiver.
That's
the
right.
Same concept, right?
Exactly. Same concept. And I think that's important for folks to realize. So anyway, like I said, we could talk all day about that. So let's change topics a little bit, because I want you to comment a little bit on your yes concept. That's a big thing for you. And I want you to talk a little bit about that, because a lot of times people are so focused on what they need to say no to. And granted, there's a place for that, but I like the positive spin on what you have to say about this. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Okay. So let me explain how it all started. Okay. Because I have to put it into context. Okay.
Please.
So in 2018, if you remember 2018, it was margin compression. If you remember what was happening to us at that time.
I do.
So here I was running a company, trying to survive, meaning I needed to figure out how to double my volume, because I was making half the money that we were used to making at that time. So here I am going, okay, how do I build out my wholesale network bigger and bigger? And at that time, I was asked to speak on the stage for the very first time in my career. Now, Skip, I want to put it into context. Up until 2018, I had never been on social media. I had never been I've never even attended a conference. Forget about speaking at a conference. I was behind the scenes running a company. No one knew me.
Talking about having your nose to the grindstone. Man, Laura.
I was running a company. Okay.
Yeah.
So because the market was not good at that time, when someone said to me, I'd like you to come and do this, I said yes. Okay. Now, Skip, I was so scared that about 3 weeks before I was supposed to go, I chickened out. I actually called one of my top salespeople and I'm like, hey, I got this opportunity. Why don't you go? And I'll stay back at the office. Now he's like, sure, I'll go. I'll take the stage. No problem. Well, the person that I was doing it for called me and said, no, You are not giving it to someone else. You're getting on that stage. And so, Skip, two things happened. One, that person saw something in me I didn't see in myself yet. Powerful, right? I hadn't seen myself as that person. So I watched YouTube videos for 3 weeks, learning how to speak properly, how to craft my skills,
Your style.
my style. And then I met with all the people that I was working with at that time. I met with them and I got to know them. So I was very comfortable. And Skip, the second I got on that stage, I was comfortable. I was not scared. It just happened. It was like it was meant to be. But something happened to me, Skip. In that moment, when I came off the stage, I had a line of women waiting to speak to me. I honestly was like, what the heck is this? Like, I didn't experience this before. All those women said, Laura, thank you for doing that, because we never see women executives up on a stage. We mainly see men at these conferences. Well, Skip, in that moment, something clicked in my brain that said to me that if I let my fears overtake me, remember, I was about to chicken out. I had told them no. But if I allowed that to happen, I would have never realized where I was supposed to go. And so in that moment, I decided that I will never let fear hold me back from anything ever again. I will be open to the opportunity of getting out of my comfort zone and saying yes to living the most out of every single day. And that is the concept of say yes every day. It is realizing that I'm not going to have any regrets on the day that I move on from this earth. I am going to squeeze out everything possible out of every single day, because there will be no regrets.
I love it. I love it. Now, you have a little something coming out next month, or 2 months from now, I guess, technically.
Yes. So November 1st is my third version of Say Yes Every Day.
Very
and
nice.
Let me tell you what this is. This particular book, I went out on my LinkedIn and I said, I am opening it up to the first 10 people that say yes to me. I will pay for you to have an assistant writer that will help share your story. And I will pay to have the whole book published. All I need you to do is say yes to getting out of your comfort zone and joining me on this journey. So I have those people say yes. And we've been working together for the last few months. And on November 1st, all of those people will become authors for the very first time in the concept and discussion of confidence and transformation.
I love it. I love it. Now, that is completely different from the previous version, though, right?
Correct. Completely different.
Yeah. So it's these stories are going to be good, I'm sure. So I guess I've got to ask, how quickly did those 10 slots get filled up?
Oh, within the first day.
Yep. Of course. Very nice. Yeah. So is it your intention to kind of keep building on this and grow?
My goal is to probably do a Say Yes Every Day book every year. Like, that's my goal. So I'm already starting my fourth one, which will just be me. Like, I'm not going to do a compilation book, but that's my thought, is that I'll partially do some compilation every once in a while. I'll also do just me once in a while as a training and guiding and certain things, that messages I want to get out there. But I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep letting people know we have but one life to live. And every day that we get is a blessing and a gift. And we can't let our fear hold us back. And Skip, I'd like to use this analogy. When we are born as children, we don't stop before we start to learn how to walk. We don't stop when we're learning how to speak our words. We keep going and going until we get it down. Why are we so scared as adults of, oh my goodness, someone will say he failed or she didn't do something right? Who cares? Those people don't matter. Who matters is you and your loved ones and your families, and the people that truly love you will be there for you. Don't worry about those other people, because no regrets is what we're going.
Yeah. Well, and there's a quote that's been paraphrased and changed up here now, but essentially it says, you're never going to be judged by somebody doing by somebody doing more than you are. It's always less. So yeah, that's huge. Great advice. I love it. I love it. So Laura, before we go, you're heavily involved, obviously, in the industry, not just with your own customers and businesses and that kind of thing. Why is that so important for you to be involved in AIM and, of course, women in mortgage and that kind of thing? What inspired you to get as involved as you are? Talk to me about that, please.
All right. Well, Skip, that organization, the first time I spoke was AIM, the very first conference ever, April of 18.
So that was it. Okay. I got you. All right.
So AIM was
so it means something deep to you.
It was kind of my birthing, so to speak. Yeah. I was there from the very beginning. I was also the very first person to do the women's events at AIM. I've been doing it every single year since we started doing it all the way back in 2019. And so again, special place in my heart. I was there right from the very initial brawl, and when it started with brawl and then it turned to AIM and all of that. And I believe that the whole entire broker community changed when people came together and when it wasn't just individuals out there on their own island, where it became a collective effort of everyone helping, supporting, and pushing each other forward. And I will always be part of organizations, associations, missions, or purposes that have that at its core value of bringing people together for the purpose of doing good and moving forward.
Very good. Very good. So, all right, Laura, if my listeners want to learn more about you, get in touch with you, follow you, where should they go?
So I'm on social media now every single day. So if you want to follow me anywhere, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all of that, that is a great way to see what's going on. I am religiously, consistently posting all the time.
Very good. Consistently. I love that you put that in there, by the way. Just one more reinforcement. So, Laura, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, we could have taken a number of these different things and really talked for hours about it. But thank you for sharing some of your insight and your wisdom with the listeners. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to have you back on again.
Well, I appreciate that the conversation was great, Skip. I agree with you. We could have gone on for hours. For everyone out there, guys, cycles come and go. Mindset is key. Whatever that purpose is that you're working towards, your legacy, your kids, your family, building your own mission and purpose in life. Remember, things will pass. We're in this together. You have support out there. Keep listening to Skip's podcast for all this great insight and everything else that he has to offer. And you've got this.
Thanks.